A military response to wildfires in Hawaii, and new info on the accused Pentagon leaker. All of that and more today, August 11th, 2023. Good morning, early birds. I'm Zamone Perez, and this is the Early Bird Brief, produced by Defense News and Military Times. First up, President Joe Biden ordered the military to assist in dealing with a wildfire that tore through the heart of the Hawaiian island of Maui. Pentagon spokesman Brigadier General Pat Ryder said that 134 National Guard personnel were activated. 99 were from the Hawaii Army National Guard, and 35 were from the Hawaii Air Force National Guard. Those forces are taking part in helping the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. A variety of Naval, Coast Guard, and Army, aviation, and maritime assets were also dispatched for search and rescue and wildfire response. That includes CH-47 Chinooks, MH-60R Seahawks, a 45-foot response boat, and cutters Kimball and Joseph Gerzak. The Coast Guard said it rescued 14 people who jumped into the water to escape flames and smoke, including 2 children. The fire started Tuesday and took the island by surprise. Flames raced through the parched ground and neighborhoods in the historic downtown. The fire has been fueled by a dry summer and strong winds from a passing hurricane. The flames left some people with mere minutes to act and led some to jump into the ocean. At a news conference early yesterday, Hawaii's Adjutant General Kenneth Hara said that several factors made it more difficult to fight the fire in the early stages, especially the high winds.
The reason it spread so fast is there are reports of gusts of up to 85 miles per hour. So, that is so fast, and that's why Maui County had such a hard time doing containment of the fire. And because the winds were so high, we couldn't provide the helicopters to do the water bucket support.
Hawaii's lieutenant governor said the fire has destroyed many buildings.
We're still trying to assess the amount of damage, but the road to recovery will be long. The damage to the infrastructure, it's not just buildings. I mean, these were small businesses that invested in Maui. These were local residents.
Another important story, Massachusetts Air Force National Guardsman Jack Teixeira allegedly shared classified intelligence information with at least one person in a foreign country. That's what a Federal Bureau of Investigation special agent said in a statement included in recent court filings. Teixeira was recently arrested under the Espionage Act and indicted on charges that he leaked classified military documents. He is accused of sharing highly classified military documents about Russia's war in Ukraine and other top national security issues. A special agent who investigated Teixeira said the 21-year-old allegedly leaked documents on the social media platform Discord. The 3 servers where the documents were reportedly leaked contained more than 150 members. Some of them represented themselves as foreign nationals or at least used a foreign IP address. The court documents do not state whether a user who said they lived in a foreign country accurately represented their location. Teixeira's attorney declined to respond to a request for comment. Here's why it matters. The accusations come as the defense and prosecution in Teixeira's case argue over whether he should be released before his trial. Prosecutors have urged the judge to keep Teixeira in custody. They said he would be a flight risk and a prime recruit for U.S. adversaries. On the other hand, Teixeira's attorney said that the fact Teixeira did not run or go into hiding from law enforcement shows that he is not a flight risk. As a result of the leak, the Pentagon tightened controls and procedures on classified intelligence. In other news, President Joe Biden is set to ask Congress to provide more than $13 billion in emergency aid to Ukraine. That's according to a source who spoke with the Associated Press. The massive infusion of cash comes as the Russian invasion wears on and Ukraine pushes a counteroffensive against the Kremlin's deeply entrenched forces. The last such request from the White House was made in November. It was met and then some. Congress approved more than what the Democratic president had requested. But a political divide on the issue has grown. The Republican-led House is facing enormous pressure to demonstrate support for Donald Trump, who has been very skeptical of the war, and American support for the effort has been slowly softening. Members of Congress have repeatedly pressed Defense Department leaders on how closely the U.S. is tracking its aid to Ukraine to ensure that it is not subject to fraud or ending up in the wrong hands. Last month, the Pentagon said it overestimated the value of the weapons it has sent to Ukraine by $2.6 billion, which resulted in a surplus that will be used for future security packages. The U.S. has approved 4 rounds of aid to Ukraine in response to Russia's invasion, totaling about $113 billion. Some of that money is going toward replenishment of U.S. military equipment that was sent to the front lines. Congress approved the last round of aid in December, totaling roughly $45 billion for Ukraine and NATO allies. Also on the radar for today, the Department of Veterans Affairs extended a deadline for payouts linked to the PACT Act. The legislation is aimed at helping veterans who were exposed to toxic substances during their military service. The extension was announced after technical issues complicated the application process. Veterans and survivors now have through 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time this Monday, August 14th, to file or submit an intent to file to be eligible to have their benefits backdated a year to when the bill was signed. Originally, the deadline was for August 9th, but the high volume of applications caused many submitting their intent to file to receive a website error message. President Joe Biden signed the Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics Act, more commonly called the PACT Act, on August 10, 2022. He spoke on the anniversary of the signing yesterday in Salt Lake City, Utah.
We only have one truly sacred obligation, and that's to equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't. 1 year ago today, we met that sacred obligation when I signed, after fighting so damn hard for the PACT Act, to sign it into law. I want to thank all the veterans organizations for helping make that happen, because it matters.
Veterans or their family members can get information about the PACT Act benefits by calling the VA or visiting their website. That information is linked in the story on our site. And now, here's some other stories that we're hearing chirps about. Poland's defense minister said yesterday the country intends to put 10,000 soldiers along its border with Belarus. That comes as Warsaw worries about the presence of Russian-linked mercenaries in Belarus and migrants trying to cross the border without authorization. Taiwan's defense ministry said yesterday that China sent Navy ships and a large group of fighter jets toward the island, continuing its military pressure on Taiwan. A U.S.-based lawyer said Iran transferred 5 Iranian Americans from prison to house arrest. Tehran did not immediately acknowledge the move, but for months has suggested a prisoner swap was possible between itself and Washington. It also comes amid months of heightened tensions between Iran and the U.S. A major American military buildup in the Persian Gulf is underway. And U.S. Today reported that Major General Eric Little was fired from his job as the National Guard's top general for personnel after an Army Inspector General investigation. And on this day in history, in 1934, the first group of federal prisoners arrived in Alcatraz Island. That's the rocky outcrop situated offshore from San Francisco, California. Of course, Alcatraz had once been a military prison. It would go on to house some of America's most notorious criminals, such as Al Capone. That's it for us this morning. To get more top stories and breaking news, go to defensenews.com/EBB to subscribe to the Early Bird Brief newsletter. Please give us a like, rating, and a comment wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on social media @defense_news and @Military Times. The Early Bird Brief is hosted and produced by me, Zamone Z. Perez. Today's episode features stories by the Associated Press, myself, and Jonathan Lehrfeld. Our editor-in-chief is Mike Gruss. Have a great day.